be a fantastic best of one on no other than Mirage. It's going to be the French Titan going up against the Aussies RNG. Moses, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is I mean, this is going to be awesome. This is the group that, like, both of these two matches could be fantastic. All three of these teams, I feel, have a really good shot at advancing in this group. And this one in particular, with Titan being so new, this map can throw us for some loops.
Absolutely, and we are jumping on into our first round then. Let's see where this one takes us. The Australians starting on the CT side, the T's for Titan. And let's jump on into the game and see where this one takes us. Does look like the T side have kind of got a bit of a mixed bag in mind. Okay, to try and get a rotate out of the Australians on towards that A site.
Yeah, and here comes the execute. Smoke's being laid out. The bomb's over towards middle, though, so these two players, Shox is going to be the only one going up. They want their deadliest player just a deathmatch, draw some attention away. And there's Smith coming up catwalk, takes out Yam. That's a good first kill, but Sponge is still in the connector. He gets dropped as well, can't connect. And this is all Titan so far.
So from here, where do you go? JKS and Havoc are going to have to do absolutely everything for Renegades if they want to claw this first one back. Start as they mean to go on. Now, what is their plan of action from here?
Well, Titan's so spread out at the moment that they can't really commit to anything quite yet. Maniac's all alone with the bomb, and he's getting into window room right now, so he's pretty isolated. Existence falling back from B. Shox is going to be over towards Palace, so they're going to readdress towards the A bomb site, and Havoc is going to have a big role to play behind that phone booth.
Yeah, and time is going to be of the essence here. 30 seconds, so Havoc, he's going to have to be making the call. JKS surely realizing there's a little too quiet at B for this time in the round. Havoc realizing he's vulnerable. His beard can only keep him safe for so long. 40 points of health, he's gone. Shox was the man behind the frag, and JKS, he's rotating as fast as he can, but 3 Frenchmen standing between him and this first round, and doesn't look likely, as he is going to be firing out just a couple of warning shots. Does connect just a little bit, but with the bomb down, time ticking away, JKS, he's been described as the man that needs to step up, the man to sit at the top of the scoreboard for Renegades. I don't think this is looking likely, and I think he realizes the same as well. Maniac and Existence just pincering him in, ensuring the round survival. That's going to be an easy one then. Titan pick it up, and I mean, their plan of action seemed to change throughout that round.
Yeah, well, the thing was they wanted Shox to just go up and like give their best players some space to work with. Tell them to just go try and find a kill, and you know, that occupied some players that pulled the window player over towards the A bomb site. That's what allowed them to get so much progress up catwalk before being spotted. The big thing is in that 2-on-3, Havoc playing behind that phone booth goes for a little bit of a peek, commits himself into the bomb site to try and get some information, and from there, there's nowhere to hide once players come out of Palace. He's just fully exposed.
And so no armor across the board for the Australians. They're just looking to try and do some damage with whatever they could scrape together, and it does look like we're just going to be seeing Azza, who, as was mentioned on the desk, was instrumental in the previous games for Renegades, really holding sights, especially on that CT side, looking phenomenal. And it does look like the T side has set their sights on B.
Yeah, now they're coming in a nice flashbang blinds JKS just for a little bit, but here comes the push, and this is so aggressive. This is a huge committal. A nice shot from Azur takes out the first one. That Molotov's going to prevent him from falling down immediately, but a good response there. Now they have the bomb site.
So they've taken control. Now RPK and Shox are going to continue to do just that. Sponge, Yam, and Havoc then with it all to do. Yam in kitchen is just going to have to sit by the wayside as the bomb does go down. Sponge has got himself in a good position through apps, though, and he's just waiting on Havoc, who's taking his time through mid. Shox jumping up and down, and now it's just a case of how much damage can they do. Doesn't look like a lot, though, as the last bodies are surely going to be falling, and this is going to be a solid second for Titan.
Yeah, it is, and a little bit of a kill there at the end for Havoc. The interesting thing is talking to Sponge just during the last match when he was watching it with us, and he said, I think it was Natu asked him, you know, are you guys going to take out Titan? And Sponge said, listen, if Titan comes out and plays this no-respect style versus us, they're going to beat us. But if they give us respect and they give us the space to work with, we can beat them.
And interesting from that, on the other side of things, I spoke to Maniac and I said, so, you know, potentially going up against NIP. I was like, no, we're going up against Renegades. That's all we're thinking about right now. So the respect is there, Moses. And that's interesting that we've kind of Sherlock Holmes and Watson our way to an answer to that question again.
Dibs on Sherlock.
Look at this stack. I look good with like a Watson moustache, so I'm okay with that. But let's see where Titan go with this one, because they're again paying attention to B.
Yeah, it's just grouped up, and they're going to push into it pretty quickly here. There's a small smoke from Shox, but the first kill goes to JKS once again, and he gets traded off immediately. Now Azur's got to do something, delay him a little bit longer. Smith jumps right into his crosshair. He could have time to reload and just survive now. This is looking good.
This is looking very good then. 4 CTs holding in. Yes, they have got control of the site, and Shox is going to be doing absolutely everything, but here comes the backup from behind. It's going to be Sponge and Yam skipping their way to the B site. Havoc hoping to keep himself alive in the process, but I think they know, and Shox most definitely does. He finds Havoc in kitchen. He's not going to be cooking anything special now, as that's going to be 3-0 and a solid start for Titan, picking up the first 3. We didn't see any armor buys in those first 3 rounds from Renegades, though. They were quite happy just on the pistols.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, Yam's going to have his AWP now. They're going to have the full utility, so realizing they lost that, glass cannon op, realizing that if they just save those armor, there's no reason, there's no necessity this early on at 0-1 to really force up in that second round. So now they can start things off with a really strong 4th round buy.
Let's see where they choose to go with it then, as we are going to be seeing the T side this time change it up, looking to set up some smokes for the A site. Looking like we might be seeing an execute here. Maniac, the one to try and keep his eyes on middle, flashing his way to try and keep at least Azza and Yam occupied. He's doing just that, but Havoc is going to be the man to be tested. Here comes the wave of the French. They're going to be desperately trying to find an opener. It's actually Sponge who does that, takes existence out of the equation, as does Azza through mid. And look at the bodies drop. That's 3 for Sponge. And Renegades, they make their presence known and demand respect, just as we were talking about in this first round.
Right, and RPK kept the max down. He actually gets 1 kill. He can do a little bit more damage here, but this is looking dire. Bombs down so far away. Azza takes him out. They actually almost managed to catch Renegades completely off guard there. That wasn't really a standard execute. They just kind of came up that ramp and wanted to surprise them, and it worked initially, but the kills don't go their way. Sponge makes a big play coming through smoke.
That's very important for Renegades to start, kind of hit the ground running rather. Rumming would be a much different occasion, but now let's see what the economy does give them. It looks like we're going to be seeing all good in the hood for both sides, and a couple of head armors across the board for the CT side as well.
Yeah, and look at Yam jumping up in these boxes, going to get an extra second on this push. Shock's going to be prepared for it because Yam's holding the angle. Shox hasn't peeked anything quite yet, but he's still around just by the pillars, just waiting. And Sponge is going to be the one to open things up. Just spamming through smoke, it looks like, takes him out. And here comes Shox. You can see him through the wall, and Yam's going to win that one. Nice shot from him. The patient game.
Yeah, and Yam's been doing this before. I kind of cast my mind back to the last time I saw Renegades on Mirage over at IEM, and he was doing the same thing against SK. Real kind of almost hyper-aggressive, getting the early picks with this kind of off-angle or surprising peak. And he's gone and done it again. Now the 3 Ts are going to be desperately trying to worm their way through middle as the bomb loose off the back of Sponge's opener.
Yeah, it's the only control they have on the map with 2 players, Existence and RPK in mid. You can see Renegades playing a little bit more passive with a 2-man advantage. The only thing is the bomb's down at the A ramp, so Smith has had to rotate back there. Now that he's just about ready, they're going to put some pressure on Connector, and Sponge wins that battle.
Sponge again, he's picked up 5 frags in just 2 rounds, and Az is going to be doing exactly the same thing there from short, keeping that one safe. And Yam with his second of the round, and 3 players from Renegades are all over this map, and the aforementioned JKS has yet to make an appearance. Of course, he is holding B and has yet to be tested with a rifle in his hand.
Yeah, that was good stuff from Renegades, pushing Hall's Yam, grabbing that angle, really kind of taking the fight towards Titan. And, you know, those are the kind of plays, like they said, those are the plays that are going to make Titan to have to start play a little bit more respectful. And that's exactly what Renegades is looking for in this match.
Yeah, talking of respect, looks like we're going to be seeing them forced to just 3 rifles, a P250 and a Tech 9 for Shox and Existence, respectively. And looks like they're going to have to desperately both try and retrieve rifles, but get some early presence on the site. The call is going to be made, though. Sponge catches a glimpse and throws out a molly to try and deter them, but they are having no such thing as the flash is it's a beautiful counter flash, but he's managed to worm his way into Sandwich, and he's going to be having a meal. Oh, not really. Finds just the one. Smith's in response, and so it's a 4v3, but the T side, they've seized control of the site.
Yeah, and Existence has a great spot. JKS not even expecting that, just falls. A free kill for Existence. There's Azza trying to make this retake a little bit more likely.
Doesn't look too likely now that the bomb goes down. They have time, and they do have positioning as well, but that wall of smoke set up by the Titans side made it so difficult to try and conflict that bomb going down. Now, though, casting his eyes towards stairs is beautiful from Smith. Chances are he's going to find the second. He knows where Azza is, finds his head through the smoke, and a solid 2, make it 3 rather, for Smiths in that round, and that's going to be 4 on the board for Titan.
Yeah, on a force buy. And this A execute from Titan, they're throwing the same, typical smokes that we see out of every team that does it, but instead of waiting for them to plume before committing, they're going up with the smoke. So they're actually, that's the thing, they're trying to catch Renegades off guard, because once players see those smokes coming over the wall, a lot of times they're going to throw out a flashbang or a Molotov to counter that choke point. And when you run up with the smokes, that might give you a free kill where you can catch a player with a nade out.
So yeah, was the plan just to back away and play for retake when you see smokes like that, and they weren't given that chance?
Well, you can see Sponge is getting aggressive through those smokes, and like just like he's getting aggressive here up middle, and so is Yam. So once again, trying to take the battle to Titan early.
This could go so well for him. He gets a glimpse of one. I think he knows there's a second. That's beautiful from Yam. 2 bodies hit the deck, and it looks like Sponge is going to be able to trade out another on Existence, and mid-control completely depleted by the 2 stars so far for the Renegades. But Maniac in the meantime found Havoc. So it's a 3v2, numbers favouring the CT side, but the bomb looking dangerous, the bomb site rather, looking dangerously open for Titan.
Yeah, oh, that's a fortunate miss, but that's the only smoke they have, so they actually can't even plant the bomb quite yet. They have to win some of these duels. They have to take out a couple more Renegades players. Maniac stuck behind that fire. Shox is going to have a lot of work to do, but Sponge with the AWP takes him out, but there's a nice tap from Maniac. He's got one more in spawn to deal with.
He's got no health. That flashbang's going to have to do everything, and it doesn't look like he even caught JKS with that one. Last bit of utility to his name is going to be that HE. Hopefully, actually throws it towards the wrong target. He could have caught Sponge with that one. Sponge again. That's 3 for him in this round. Taking Yamsorp and picking up another 2 off the back of that one. Very solid from Renegades.
Yeah, and this is a couple gun rounds now where they're going and getting a really good start to these rounds. They're giving them an advantage going into the mid round. So good stuff out of Renegades, putting Titan in their place a little bit, but still Titan up 4-3 at the moment.
Yeah, Titan have control. Of course, majority of that off the back of those first 3 that they did manage to acquire off the back of the pistol. So again, shot kind of misshapen by from Titan. I'm seeing pistols, 2 Tech 9s and even a Glock for existence as he's the man with the plan. Does actually pick up a P250 as he's going to be trying to piece this one together. Didn't work out last time. Let's see if something can change as again, Sponge and Yam are taking control. Oh, he doesn't connect the shots, but Sponge is there to keep him safe and sound. Damage control there from the in-game leader. And another 2 quick ones for RPK in existence. This is going back and forth, and this is the most impact Titan have made with these misshapen buys. Maniac on Tetris trying to go hunting, but Shox does the work for him as the bodies keep getting traded out. It's a 2v2 now, but that bomb site is fully in Titan control.
Yeah, and Titan's getting used to the fact that Renegades is putting a lot of mid-pressure on early. That time they cleaned it up. It's even trades, and now down to a 2-on-1. 1 minute left on the clock, and Titan knows they can play it a little bit slower. They actually fall out of the A bomb site, which they had control of, but JKS knew exactly where they were.
So kind of instead opting to keep JKS guessing, and I think he's going to start piecing this one together, saying this feels odd. Very quiet A site, considering he knew that the bomb site was there. I think he's going to start piecing this together just about in the nick of time. Actually worrying about his back as well.
It's a tough spot he's put himself into, though, because he doesn't have eyes on either bomb site, so he couldn't prevent the plant at either site. Now he's gotta be forced into a retake, but playing so passively, look at like Shox is able to get in such a good position. He's gotta clear that out now, and then Maniac behind him will know exactly where he is.
Yeah, and surely he's going to be making enough noise for Shox to make that call. He's still hanging around a window, as he actually opting to just pick up an AK, and I think he's going to go ahead and make his presence known on towards short. Maniac's the one holding the angle. He's only got 6 points of health, but he is going to be able to make that call for his team. Jumping up to try and gather intel. JKS makes it all too clear with the shots. Backs away to keep the AK safe, and that's going to be our 5th for Titan. Retrieving the AWP. You can see he was having that kind of just discussion with himself, like, can I? No, I won't.
Well, this is the danger now. Shox is going to hunt him down. That's a long-range dink. Very low HP. Shox has got to get on his horse and try and find this before the time expires. And he's just spamming away, but JKS does get that kill, so manages to save the AWP. Well done from him.
That panic jump as well, like, please, please, where is that time? 3-5 then going to be the score, and JKS does manage to try and keep that AWP safe and sound. Hitting that shot on toward Shox. Tech 9 v AWP can be a little terrifying in that CQB place, and Yami is going to be given that AWP to try and make some sort of impact. Everyone else going completely unprotected. Of course, JKS is carrying over that Kevlar from the round before. Now, where do you place the only weapon you have, Moses? Where do you go with that one AWP, that one power you have?
Well, it's aggressive again, and I'm not sure I like this just because they've been doing it so much. Titan's going to be prepared for it, but you do want to put it in a spot where it's going to be that first contact for you, so getting aggressive is one way to ensure that. He's just got to win this battle here. Maniac's close up on the left, all the while B-hit is going on. There goes Yam, there's the AWP. JKS can't do anything with just the pistols, and they all get mowed down so quickly. that was a bloodbath, yeah. As simple for Titan, not going to make it any costly whatsoever, keeping all of those weapons still in their hands, and that's a necessity at this point. Of course, the winner of this one does continue to meet NIP, and it's a lot further for one of these teams to get home. Yeah, and despite some really good rounds, some really good stuff out of Renegades in these rounds, they're down 6-3, which is tough to see. And now this buy out of them, 2 FAMASes, no kits whatsoever, only 3 smokes in their arsenal so far. And this does suggest that the Renegades are being truly tested by Titan here on their CT side. Something you'd usually expect to be seeing a few more rounds by this point. Now, what do we see from this attack? It's going to be actually Havoc who opens up, and it could be another one for Yam. He puts his AWP to the side, and this time picks up one with the M4. But Shox does extend himself. Sponge does expose that vulnerability, and so now just down to 2. Existence and Smiths are the ones to try and piece this one back together again. But I mean, 5 CT standing. How have Renegades suddenly done this with limited utility and weaponry? Yeah, they found some easy kills, really. Yam playing around that smoke. Sponge is going to hit a nice shot there as well. And yeah, sometimes just not having all those nades, they don't have to think about anything but getting into the duels, and they've brought it back in this round. So 1-on-5 Existence. He has done this before on this map, though.
And I mean, I would be
crazy
making...
would that be?
Yeah, very weird sounds would be coming out of my mouth if that happened. 40 seconds for him to find 5 frags. I think we can quite quietly agree that that's going to be the 4th round for Renegades. Much needed as well, of course. We saw the first 3 go the way of Titan, and the CT side managed to actually, they reset the economy of Titan. They managed to get back to this point again.
Yeah, and Existence looks like he's just going to end up trying to save that gun, but he just peeks out at the wrong moment. Yam finds him very, very quickly. Economy's still good on the Titan side, so they're going to have another buy here, and that's a chance once again. Like you said, just reset the economy because Renegades at this point down 2 rounds with Titan already at 6 on the T side of Mirage. They've got to start stringing some together. They can't let this balloon too far out of control, and getting a reset here would be disastrous.
And, you know, the big point that was made over on the desk before this game did kind of go into it was the shocks factor and kind of unleashing him. Is it most definitely kind of on the T side, or are we going to be seeing the same kind of thing once the sides swap?
Oh, shocks can dominate any side of the map, but the cool thing is he's not doing it right now. It's pretty solid team effort. Top 3.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, there's RPK getting a nice shot on a Sponge. He's opened things up very nicely.
Yeah, this is going to be horrible. The site is all over. 4 Ts already swarmed onto the A site. There's a wall of smoke that's locking them out, but Azza, he's knocking on that door. He's found one alongside Havoc. Not going to be able to find a second. He is completely flashed. Hand over his eyes, still found the frag onto Smiths, and Yam's doing the same as well, and it looks so good for Titan. They had complete control of the site, but Renegades laugh at them and pick up 5.
Yeah, Renegades just puts that round on its head so quickly. It looked firmly on Titan's control, especially after that opening kill, but either way, Renegades, a nice defense there. They stand tall, 5-6 now. Now they force the save round onto Titan. Most of them stuck around $2,300 in the bank, so it should be a good chance for Renegades not only to build up some money, but tie the game up and maybe try and take a lead going into the next round.
It's most definitely a necessity. We've seen strange results on Mirage across the board. You know, you don't have to look much further than, I mean, CLG beating Fnatic's, one of those ones you can really prepare for. Of course, they wouldn't have known that this matchup was coming in, but Renegades, they've been boot camping. They've been here at the ESL studios, and maybe, just maybe, that preparation has paid off.
Well, what's funny is Titan's playing this very aggressive, and this almost looks like the typical Titan timeout. You see Existence, Maniac, and Shocks all still in T-spawn, haven't moved, so they're just talking things over. It's basically a tactic they've done a lot in the past, and Yam, it looks like he even knows it. He pushes up, he wants to try and disturb that, take some kills, but he gets traded off. But it's basically a free timeout, what Titan just did, and talk things over a little bit before actually using the tactical timeout.
It's one of those things I feel like I don't see too often outside of the teams with Existence. Is it something that he kind of brings as an individual? I mean, I'm
honestly not sure why more teams don't do it.
Yeah,
because it's a very, very good idea, especially because this is so early on now in the map. If they use it here, they don't have it for the next half. So having that free one is actually massive.
So taking their time into the round, you see Yam was kind of quite smartly, I guess. I mean, he has been going kind of aggressive up mid in the buy rounds as well, but he was just testing the water, seeing if it was what he suspected, and now you can see the T's are starting to ramp on towards it. Havoc's going to find one. It was RPK down and out as he is going to return the favor from Yam's M4. Not good, but Sponge is fortunately going to be able to deal with the remainder. Existence and Maniac just strolling into the site, and Sponge greets them with bullets as it's all going to be onto Existence. He's not long for this world as well, and that's going to be another one for Renegades as they equalize.
Well, one of the things I wanted to say last round was when I said that Renegades thought that Titan would crush them if they played this no-respect style. Titan's kind of doing that. Other strategies have been very, very aggressive into the bomb sites. The previous gun round, they actually pushed 2 players through smokes to try and take over CT spawn. And that's a very aggressive, no-respect kind of thing to do. And actually, Renegades has been handling it pretty well these past few rounds.
Would you say there's a difference between aggressive and no-respect? Are they 2 very different styles?
Absolutely.
Because it feels like Renegades are the ones that are being aggressive on their CT side. Going for those peaks towards underpass is something that I kind of cast my mind back to. And maybe they're just kind of surprising Titan, throwing a spanner into the works for Existence. A gap in that smoke on towards ramp, though. That's not ideal, and JKS does throw out the molly to try and stop them. And look at this again. They throw their bodies towards the side, and it's going to be 3 for the CTs in exchange for just 1 for RPK. Body still dropping, and now RPK is the last man standing. What just happened? Blink and you miss it, and Renegades acquire 7.
Well, Renegades that round, they've kind of caught on to the tendency of Titan. They want to hit that A site very, very quickly, very aggressively, and they had 3 players there this time. In the past, they've only, sometimes only had 1, sometimes only had 2. This time, they stack it up 3 early on, and they catch Titan off guard. So a good round from Renegades. Now they've taken that lead 7-6. They've also got a decent amount of money built up in the bank. JKS has 9,000, AZR has 8,000.
And I mean, a real shout out to Sponge, someone who is quite often, middle to the bottom of the scoreboard, making the calls for Renegades. He's sitting on 16 frags so far in the 13 rounds of play we've seen. Here, though, in the 14th, let's see if Titan can mix it up. Just armor and pistols for them as they do look to make a wave. Towards Yam's location, he's going to catch a glimpse. He's very vulnerable. He realizes that Molly's going to have to try and keep him safe, but he'll only do so for so long. Fortunately, JKS is there to pick up the pieces. I say that, it's actually the Molly who burns 2 of the Frenchmen. Asa finds a double of his own, and Titan melt under the foot of Renegades. It must be a hot foot. That's a very odd analogy, but we'll go with it. As now Existence is going to have to do something magical. Doesn't, and it's going to be another for Renegades. Good to see also that Titan aren't getting away with any of these force buys.
Well, that buy was actually pretty smart by them because they had lost 4 rounds in a row, so the losing bonus was kind of built up, and they didn't fully invest into it. Yeah. They just picked up armor and the Tech 9s, and they still have a full buy out of it afterwards, so no reason to not do that. Maybe try and damage the economy of Renegades, make that last round of the half for them, you know, a little bit of a weaker purchase, but unfortunately, they didn't find any success on it. 5 rounds consecutively for Renegades, in fact. Let's see if Titan can finally put a stop to this, as it does look like they're going to be for that 3-2 split. Maybe, just maybe, they're going to be switching up the pace somewhat, as Yam again positioning himself nicely towards that connector smoke. And it's going to be RPK who tries to challenge through mid as well. It's kind of double trouble from Titan, desperately trying to find something. Azza and Yam have been creating quite the havoc over towards middle, as JKS is actually the one to open up towards Smiths. Could that be the sign that the push is coming on towards B? I don't think he's going to fall for it. Makes the flashbang out, and that's going to be his chance to try and get away safely. Sponge again finds his 18th frag. And again, they're at the deficit. Titan constantly struggling to get the entries. Yeah, well, this is they've been very dedicated to either A or B bomb sites. They haven't really messed too much with middle, and that can be a sign of maybe the influence of Shox now on this team with some things that maybe he wants to do, or I think it's more likely just the fact that they haven't had a lot of time under Existence yet for these T sides to be, you know, as tactical as he'd like them to be. This might just be a map that they haven't spent a lot of time on quite yet with this new roster, and Renegades is taking advantage of it. Sponge in particular, you've said he's been a beast. Yeah, sitting now on, I think, 17 frags. Gave him an extra 1 accidentally. Now, JKS is holding the angle. I think he realizes Azza's there to keep him safe. Somehow finds Shox as he tries to make his way out, trying to merge onto the site. They're already low, and Sponge makes 1 lower as Maniac is now in the grave, all onto Existence again, trying to find 4. Does bring it down to 3, but at the cost of a whole lot of health. 16 points of health remaining, and that Molotov's just going to rub salt into the wound. Havoc is there to bring 9-6 home for his team, and Renegades, would you describe that as a very comfortable CT side for the Australians? It certainly could have gone worse. It started out pretty shaky for him, actually, especially, you know, losing those first 3, losing the pistol and such. But, you know, in the middle, neither team could really grasp hold of that. And then they just rattled off 6 straight. So, you know, normally what we see with the leadership of Existence, how good he is, like, he's the one who normally starts to read these teams. Sponge there actually outcalls Titan strategically on the defensive side. So that's very well done from them, and they can... And now the second half, I mean, this is the thing. It is a CT-sided map, so what is Titan going to have for us? Because yesterday on Overpass, they had a very, very strong CT side. Their T side was a little shaky, as we saw against Navi, but that CT side was an anchor. Yeah, I'm going to be intrigued to see how they play this as well. I mean, how much is going to translate from what we saw on that T side? These kind of... You described it as no respect. I think now most definitely respect will be there. Well, surprisingly, it's not Shox, it's not Smiths, it's not RPK. Those guys aren't going off. It's Sponge, it's Azzer, it's Yam had a couple really nice rounds. So the individual players of Renegades have really stepped up and brought their game for this match. I mean, they said before, I saw tweets from almost the entire roster saying, tomorrow will be different. So this was, of course, last night when they were sitting there in their team chat just saying, we are going to make an impact in this major. We did not put this much effort in, staying in Germany, sitting in the ESL studios, doing almost 8-hour days, just really practicing as hard as they could. They kept it social, even streamed it so you guys at home could kind of support them in that. And if you do, of course, support them, you can do so with the stickers as well, as you can see there. What's pretty crazy to me is JKS is at the bottom, and that's not that he's having a bad half, just that, you know, he's that player that we've seen in the past go nuts for these guys, and he hasn't had to do it because Sponge is killing everything. Yeah, and for sure. I mean, he was defending B. So, I mean, now put him on the T side, unleash JKS somewhat, and see what he can do given the flexibility of that terrorist side. That's what's really exciting to me. I mean, yeah, you look at the kind of bottom fraggers. JKS, I don't think you can say anything about his scoreline. The 3 or 4 times they went towards B, he was fragging. I mean, it's going to come down to what Existence as well can do in the fragging department. He's been actually quite competent as of late, but 5 frags does not reflect that here at the ESL 1 Cologne. We're at MMC Studios tomorrow, though. We will be at the arena, and these teams are battling to get 1 step closer to that goal. As let's jump on back into the action then, as we have swapped sides. Let's see what the T side can bring. Very, very spread out from Renegades to start things off. Watching for any kind of push. Sponge is the only player in mid. Havoc and JKS, they have the bomb. They're just camping outside of the A ramp, waiting for any kind of pushes. Meanwhile, Yam is coming up from underpass, and he spots one. What a shot. Combines with the Sponge. The 2 of them take down Smiths very early on. Beautifully done.
That was gorgeous. As now, where do you take this one? The bomb still hanging around towards A. Quite reminiscent of actually what we saw from Titan. 2 players towards that underpass B site, making noise, keeping players there. And I say players, it actually is just Maniac who's kind of falling for that one. You can see him there, lingering towards Apps. In the meantime, Existence is the one in ladder room, trying to make the call through mid. And I think he's going to be making a few more calls recently as I see Sponge on his way over. 50 seconds. And still no push towards the site. There's
only one smoke for Renegades, so they're gonna have a choice to make. Do they want to smoke off jungle? Do they want to smoke off CT spawn? Which one are they gonna block off and put their attention on the other? Shox is in one, RPK in the other. They choose CT spawn, so RPK is gonna have to find a way to be effective around this smoke.
I think his option is going to be wait, as it does look like the Australians are going to flood in. 5 members are suddenly all over A, and what can Shox do? Nothing, as Yam finds his second. 3 then remain for Titan as they're going to try and find an entrance into this site. RPK still locked out by that smoke as the bomb goes in, and the time now against the French as well. Azza makes it more difficult as the bodies do keep dropping, and finally RPK and Maniac return something as they try and climb what could be described as a mountain in this round. Not going to be easy for Havoc, as he does find Maniac in the end of things. And now RPK, who's just been sitting there, he was the only one who was actually ready to receive them on the site. He finally is actually the last one to go down, and Renegades reached double digits.
That was a very beautifully executed strategy from Renegades. They smoke off that CT spawn. 2 players in connector play it very, very patiently. They bide their time. They wait for counter nades. They flash towards the window room into jungle. Shox gets completely blind and they overwhelm him. So that's very well done from Renegades to block off one with the smoke and just to eliminate the defense in the other.
Process of elimination. You can see in Sponge's mind, he's like going through a checklist. Like 1, 2, 3, okay, we can get that bomb down.
Well, and it's so helpful as well that they took out Smiths early on, because there was only one. The defenders from Titan were pretty much one by one. They couldn't team up to do anything.
Let's see if they can kind of do something better this time. Talking of teaming up, look at that. 4 members of the defenders still hanging about towards that A site. It's just going to be Maniac, who's desperate for intel. He's actually doing the jump as best he can, which means they can see just like the tiniest tip of his head. It's the best way in which to gather information safely.
Well, normally on some of these rounds, you'll see the scouter be there, because with the jumping scout, you can take that long range battle. Smith is actually over towards A where the stack is, so that's where they believe this anti-eco for Renegades is eventually going to come to, and it looks promising that that's going to be the case as they start rotating back towards T-spawn to pick up the bomb.
So does it come down to gathering information at this point? Because how much have they gathered so far? I don't feel like Renegades have really caught wind of too much.
They haven't. They haven't done any information gathering. They basically just wanted to make sure they weren't going to get pushed on. They weren't going to get caught off guard. You have to establish some map control early on in Mirage, because it's so easy for teams to push mid and just flank you if you don't watch for it.
And I think Smiths is going to be very happy that he made this decision towards A. That jumping scout could prove fatal. It doesn't, as the bullet whistles past the shoulder of Azza, as it's going to be his teammate RPK to try and make an impact. He does, but it's not enough as they're still standing. They're low, but they're still kicking, and they're doing damage as well. Sponge snatches a double, finally Shox in Existence have a rebuttal, and it's big. Maniac's there as well. The bodies are dropping, and Renegades, they didn't do their homework. They should have checked a few more corners as the French fire back with the second round win on the CT side.
Yeah, that was insane. They did so much damage to so many players, and Shox just biding his time. That 4-man stack, despite 2 players falling, Shox is just waiting for his moment, and he gets some free kills.
That looked brutal. Sponge as well with that double entry, but it didn't stop that stack. Smart calling from Existence, and I think they got caught out there. Renegades weren't anticipating that, but this is something different. The full force into that 3rd round, spending everything they've got, every penny they have access to try and make an impact into this round. But the CT's already catching a heavy glimpse. It's going to be Smith making the call. There are now 4 Australians in middle, and Existence tickling one of them down. As it looks like it's going to be Smiths who does make the big impact already. 2 down, looking to make it 3 is Existence. He switches to the Deagle and does just that. As Yam goes down, Smiths to pick up his 3rd. And Renegades, that felt like there was very little strategy there, more of a let's throw our numbers at mid.
Yeah, it did feel like that, especially because when they were going mid, they didn't have any smokes for window. It was basically just they're running right into rifles and long-range battles, so Titan easily able to clean that one up. Now it's going to be another save round from Renegades, not able to do any damage in that round whatsoever, so Titan looking good in the second half early on to establish some control.
Yeah, I mean, so far, so good for them. Picked up the first pistol, picked up the second, or rather, yeah, they did. The Renegades got the second, excuse me. But 2 off the back of that pistol suggests that, I mean, what, 5 rounds from the first 6 on either side? Very,
yeah, now look at how aggressive Smiths is being, trying to kind of treat him with their own medicine, I guess, as he's aggressive in middle, trying to set the tone in the underpass, but no one falls to him there. Still spread out from Renegades. They have no nades, they just have the Glocks. Anders would be furious.
He would be. Not one nade not one nade investment. That's going to be really bothering him. As talking of nades, there you go. Smith's demonstrating why you can and should purchase one, as the HE does land on Havoc's skull and takes him down. JKS is down to 12 as well. And talking of low players, Shox is down to 7. This could be a frag for Sponge.
Yeah, he got dinked pretty well. He was pushing up towards the A ramp, trying to figure out some information. RPK's there to back him up, though. He gets that first kill. Shox just toying with him, doesn't want to commit, so Sponge takes the fight, but so low are Sponge and JKS. That nade's gonna not do the trick. Lands a little bit farther away than I expected. Either way, an easy mop up here for Titan.
Yeah, all too easy. Just losing the one man, it was Shox. So that's a little consolation prize for Sponge, but with just the Glock. But it's a little something. 10-9 though, as that's going to be Titan looking to edge this one to an equalizer. Finally though, it's time for weapons, as we still haven't got an AWP in play.
Yeah, full nades, though, for Renegades. They have a lot of options open to them here. And it looks like the difference between Renegades so far and Titan, it looks like they've wanted to toy a little bit more with mid. It was just on some of their ecos, but I don't see why they would go away with it from that in the gun round. And actually, they're lining up for some pretty creative smokes.
Okay, so we're going to be seeing them lock out short. Looks like one towards Connector as well. No, in fact, that was mid-window. Connector is locked out. So is Ramp from the CT side. And everything very, very much a wall of smoke. It's going to be Existence who's desperately gathering information through mid, but Sponge is on the warpath, just charging through. Going to be backed up by Azza as well. RPK realizing he is under scrutiny as the wallbangers come in. Nothing connects though, and so very little information gathered. Not going to stop Azza though. Finds the head of RPK. Can he find more? Sponge is there to trade this one out with a nice crossfire if they need it. Smith's trying to catch them off with the Galil, and he's not going to be enough. That even though Azza is completely blind, Sponge does so. Now a 4v3. Looking to change that is Yam. He finds the frag, and now Maniac and Existence are clambering to try and find something in towards this site. Yam with a double, and Existence realizing what happened, or trying to work out rather what happened. He's going to be caught from behind and towards window. Yam has picked up 2 already, and that flash is going to deter him even more.
Yeah, no nades
like
for 11. Yeah, no nades. He has a kit, but this is a tall task. He's got to hurry up, and he can't even find Azza, who plays a nice angle, takes out Existence as he comes up the stairs. Another good execute from Renegades. Those smokes are thrown. You can see none of them made progress on the map. They threw those smokes from T-spawn for window and catwalk. So once they throw them, that strategy, the timing on that has got to be very, very good, because they have to book it down mid to get into connector. Once that smoke fades, they had some support from the A ramp. But once again, coming up this connector, Renegades has had a lot of success. You think back to the pistol round of coming up that connector and just clearing out towards jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, another conscious decision this time to not get another AWP in play. Still sticking with the 5 rifles from Renegades. Is I'd love to know what the counterplay would be to that smoke strategy in mid.
Well, Cadian mentioned it that Kerrigan from TSM had a good read on that, and he kind of gave him some good intel at IEM. So, you know, knowing it's coming is obviously very helpful. I can't imagine Titan just getting destroyed by it again this half.
Yeah, let's see though. Talking of smokes, there's a whole load of them over towards A. Bomb loose towards T-spawn though, which does suggest we're going to be seeing a bit of a slower pace to Renegades play. So much utility still. 2 Molotovs as well, which gives them those guaranteed corner checks. And Existence is gathering a whole lot of information. Now look at this. He is just going to be making the call like B is wide open.
Yeah, you can even see Maniac starting to cheat now.
He has made the point there. You can see Yanko letting us know there is just a few nades for the CT side, which does make this push difficult to defend. But still, with that information gathered, you can see that Maniac readying himself through mid. The rest of them all on A.
Yeah, and just as equally, here goes the Renegades throwing a couple more flashes. There's Existence getting spotted out on the flank. But still, there's a good cheat. There's an AWP and CT spawn for Titan. And this execute's about to come in. Molotov misses, though. RPK doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, this is going to be an intriguing one. As a look at this, Existence, all that information gathered is going to tell him so very little. 4 of the 5 members of Titan are on A, and you better believe Renegades are headed towards B. Smith does take down the bait and switch, and I think Maniac realizes it. The call is being made, and now the 3 remaining Renegades are going to try and do something, and Azza, he pays a heavy price down to 2, but he does get the vital frag he needed. That's a second, doing so much with so little points of health. Yam again! What is happening? Titan now down to 2. It's Shox and RPK. They shouldn't, but they have managed to make a real impact in this round. Surely not another one for Azza. No, but he makes damage, and that's real crucial as Yam has it all to do. 74 and 54 for the 2 remaining. Gets brought down to 9, but finds the frag, and he has to play time. Time is his best friend now. Shox does try and bait it out, but he plays the waiting game. That is belief. That is trust. He's taken a risk, and it has netted him some reward. Now, Does try and fake it out again. Again, he's not checking it. Shox has played it beautifully, but he's backing away. I don't think he has it. Renegades are going to be very happy as Yam plays the clock beautifully, and that's going to be a very, very important round for the Australians.
What a ballsy call from Sponge to make that rotate back. They knew Existence had pushed up, got all that intel, so they knew the stack was going to be towards that A bomb site. Renegades turns it right back with 20 seconds left on the clock. They book it. They get on their horse, get over into that B bomb site, and you said it exactly. Those battles all go their way. They bring it from a 5-on-3 to a 3-on-2 so quickly.
That is glorious. As Titan are going to be kicking themselves there. Very, very solid call from Sponge, and they're going to be looking to try and run with this momentum. Could be cautious though. What? Yam strolls into the sights, tries to make it his own as Shox is now down and out. RPK can't trade it out thanks to the counter flash, and he backs away safely.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shot from Yam. These individuals, oh, that spam from Existence though brings JKS down to 20 HP. Nicely done. But these individuals for Renegades have shown up today. They're outplaying many of the Titan players.
Some people describe Yam as a weak link for Renegades, but he's been very, very solid, especially on the times I've casted him on Mirage. Real solid presence. Of course, filling in for Top Gun, someone who did struggle with underperformance issues as well.
Well, once again, mid-round, all the Titan players, they're out of nades. They have one flashbang. They have no kits. This is a very dire situation. Once this execution comes in, it's going to have to be Titan players winning battles against Renegade players as they come up this ramp.
And that entry from Yam could most definitely pay late dividends. 45 seconds as the smokes are going to rain in. And again, Smiths is locked out from jungle. It's going to come down to what RPK can do as he does mount the balcony, trying to catch one, but Havoc says no. Now just 3 remain for Titan, as Renegades are making a damn good case to go up against NIP in the next game. Maniac, though, brings it back down to a 4 versus 3, trying to stabilize for his team, but Azza has put in the digits and they're just going to swarm on into the site. Smith's making a pretty strong case as Yam throws it to the wind with 2, and it's going to be Sponge who puts a bow on it. 13 then for Renegades. They are screaming here in Cologne as they know 3 rounds away from going up against the Ninjas in Pajamas.
This is amazing stuff. That's a very good round from Yam with that opening kill. Once again, helping him out, but this is a situation now. Titan's on a save. They might force buy. They're going to buy some armor behind it, but this is the thing. Now that they're getting beat up round after round by Renegades, they're buying, but they don't have the utility to really do too much. They can't be aggressive because they don't have the pop flashes for it. Yam once again going to be very confident, but Smiths takes his head clean off.
Fool me once, shame on me. But that is not the expression, but that's most definitely going to be annoying as he does manage to retrieve a rifle off the back of that as well. RPK going to be happy to put a rifle in his hand, maybe just transferring that towards the one of the armored members, Maniac or Shox, we'll see. He does do just that, and Sponge with the rebuttal does find an unarmored Smiths, and that SMG is going to be happy to pocket the 600. As actually, is he making the call to rotate here?
He also plays it very smart because he sees who he kills. He sees he kills Smiths. He knows Smiths was at the A bomb site earlier, so he knows more than likely there's another person there. That's not just Smiths rotating to an empty bomb site, so he doesn't try and progress anymore. Falls back towards underpass, gain a little bit of mid control. You can see his teammates on the minimap are coming towards him from T-spawn.
Now this could get dicey. RPK and Shox are going to have to do everything with, very little. A P250 for RPK, and Shox has been gifted that rifle alongside his body armor. Sits towards CT though, and there's plenty of smokes to lock him out. We saw what happened to RPK last time this happened. This kind of similar execute. Sponge still going for the bait and switch, making noise towards underpass. He is basically just this Hollywood actor who is selling this fake and keeping them guessing. Wow, Shox, 1 bullet does find the brain of Havoc towards ramp, and now JKS with the response. That's the P250 player close down. And now it's a 3v3. They are stacked up though. There's 3 players all in the same location. Sponge is creeping and crawling his way behind. Stealthy Sponge not trying to make a noise, but it could be too late. Azza and JKS trying to keep him busy, but Shox still on the warpath. He's found 2. Sponge still crawling behind them. They have no idea. I don't want to make too much noise, but Azza's doing all the work for Sponge, and it comes down to a 1v1 Existence. There's one place he wouldn't be checking. It's CT. He's backing away. He does have a kid. He's trying to check as much as he can, but I think Sponge has played this damn too well. Did he not see him? 1 second! Oh my God, Sponge, please, my heart can only take so much. I swear he saw his tip of his head. Oh, okay, 14-9, the score.
Shox almost brings that round back for him, but Sponge with that beautiful flank, he just, by movement, just outplays Titan there, and he was pretty much the safety net. No matter what happened in that retake, that's the last place they would have expected Sponge to be, and even so, 1 second away, almost gives it up to him.
Oh, my Lord.
But Renegades on the verge of moving on to play NIP.
This is getting intense. This is a crucial round for Titan. They need this round to stay with a hope of getting to the arena. And they could very well be starting to pack their bags and be forced to sit and watch as their French compadres envious after that shuffle play on the main stage. 1 minute 16 on the clock then as they try and piece this one together. And they do look really apprehensive. You can see this CT structure.
Yeah, they're so centralized at the moment. They're playing a retake on A. They just want to make sure there's no mid control coming out of Renegades. So they just want to move as a unit between the map. No matter what happens, they're close to each other. They can help each other out in any situation.
And so, Sponge cautious with this call. He knows he wants to try and keep the boys in Titan guessing. They have nades this time. Utility was an issue before. Now they do have means to delay. An existence is going on an intel gathering mission. Yam was there to receive him in mid though, but it does look like he's not going to quite meet him. He is, and he does prevail in that 1v1. Crucial then as he does actually have a quick response of JKS. Charges into the site and Shox was fully flashed. Gets caught with his trousers around his ankles on balcony. And again, back and forth we go, but Sponge is punching in the digits on towards B. But he is alone. Havoc needs to hurry up to try and keep his teammates safe and sound with just 10 points of health. He's crucial though to the workings of Renegades. As existence, he's found two, needs a third and a fourth alongside Smiths to keep Titan close. Does they get the one exchange? Now all onto Smiths. He's got to find two. It's not going to happen. That's 15 and Renegades just one round away from advancing to play ninjas in pajamas to get to the arena.
Renegades is just winning all the situationals, outplaying Titan completely at the moment. That was almost around. That was a little bit scary because that was actually a fake. JKS came out, gets those 2 kills. That was supposed to suck the defense away from B for an easy plant, but unfortunately, almost so much success that it didn't even, the player in B hadn't even rotated quite yet, so they run right into him. But either way, Havoc was so far away, he had to get there quickly. But Renegades just taking it to Titan right now.
I think our cameraman just fainted as he is quite literally on the edge of his seat in support for the Australians as we do stare at Sponge as well. Face of concentration as he readies himself for a very important round. What have they done? They've just snatched 3 away, make it 4, and Maniac is wondering where it all went wrong. And it does look like Titan are starting to pack their bags. Maniac, though, does try and make an impact. He does just that. Nade tickles him down to 32, though, as he has 3 to find. Flash doesn't deter him. He's desperate to find something. JKS secures it, and Renegades are going to continue for now as they set their sights on the Swedes.
That was an absolute slaughter. I don't think anybody went into this thinking that Renegades as individuals and as a team, they were going to outplay them in terms of individual skill, in terms of tactics. They were all over Titan from start to finish. And really, there was no response. That's just what an impressive match. And if you're ninjas in pajamas right now and you see the level that Renegades just played at, that's a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, so good to see Renegades as well on a map like Mirage. It's always these kind of, the veto feels like a very dicey situation for Renegades, but it seems like preparation, keeping cool, calm, collected has actually really netted them an incredible victory. As on paper, you know, you heard the analyst desk, there was a lot of doubt surrounding Renegades, as well as Titan, to be fair, but most definitely going to be a very, very happy Australian side.
Yeah, Sponge just leads the captain just leads the way for his team. Fragging, he was unbelievably amazing. He was really the pillar of that defense early on in that first half, and just the way he outcalled Titan from start to finish. That's so impressive to see.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we talked about Shox. The Shox factor wasn't quite present in that game. We saw RPK getting caught out an awful lot as well, and I mean, was that a battle of the in-game leaders, or do you feel like it was actually just the kind of RNG individuals that came to play there? That was insane looking at the scoreboard.
It was both. The big thing for me was that Titan T side, and we saw it yesterday on Overpass, was just stale. And I think that's just the product of this team being so new together, not having a lot of time to work in depth on multiple maps. And just that it's not something you normally see out of an existence-led team, was just them committing to A or committing to B. You normally see a little bit more, you know, subtle movements. You see a little bit more mid-control. And that was tough to see.
It did feel very odd. I mean, you can kind of remember some of the oddities in those plays were the ones where we saw, okay, they're lining up smokes, they're setting up for an execute on A, and all of a sudden there were 4 terrorists out ramp, and Renegades just kind of shrugged them off.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, Renegades got caught off guard about it a couple times, but after that, it was like, all right, please do that. Yeah, I would love it.
Sponge is happy to frag as well. I mean, seeing him at the top of the scoreboard is a rarity. And I mean, the next question I have to ask before we do head over to the desk is going to have to be we talk about where did Mirage come from. The bans made perfect sense. We looked at towards Cash and Inferno. We have the stats in front of us. You know, their highest win rate was on Cash. Their second highest win rate was on Inferno. And Titan took those 2 away. They shrug it off. They say, okay, we'll play Mirage.
easy one. Did Titan do anything that surprised you, that caught you off guard, or was it pretty much according to plan throughout the entire map?
They don't play that map either. It was both teams took the risk of not banning Mirage, and what happened was we got Mirage, and then it was like, who's not as bad at Mirage was the winner. So we weren't as bad. So yeah, hey, cool.
I mean, to be fair, you guys played a really good game on Mirage. It's not like you had no clue. You still actually did stuff that obviously took a Titan off guard.
Yeah, we had a lot of, like, in Prac coming in the boot camp, we decided we wanted to play all 7 maps, which is hard, but we had to rank our maps from strongest to weakest, and Mirage came towards the bottom.
You had
so you're
actually
very
clever strats, actually.
Yeah, so you're actually telling me that you have all 7 maps prepared for this tournament.
For us, yeah, not for certain teams, but yeah, kind of, yeah, I would say so.
So you have some time spent on all 7.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, you know, that's something we don't hear as often from a lot of these other teams. Keaton, what about you? We talked a lot extensively about the previous times we saw Renegades play on Mirage, but how were you? Were you impressed by their play this time around? I think a lot of people were.
Especially when I saw the map. I mean, obviously Titan doesn't play it that much as well, but talking with Havoc and playing you guys on Mirage at IEM, I felt like you were good on it, but you were better on other maps. So I was fairly convinced because, as you said, it was a strong performance, and there was probably no clue that what team was going to run away with that one. And yeah, just kudos, well played.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, I know a certain someone right next to me who was a little bit of a doubter and said maybe they can win against one of these teams, but not both in the group. But you guys have to be on a high right now, riding that roller coaster up and up. Next up is going to be NIP, though. On that one, are you feeling a little bit more, maybe more worried, or is it like, all right, well, we took the win, let's just take the next game as it comes?
So the 2 games that NIP have played this tournament so far, one they got absolutely destroyed, and the other was relatively close, and they would have been disappointed with it being close. So they're obviously not happy with their performance so far, so they're going to be coming out swinging for the fences, trying to take us down by the biggest margin possible. But at the same time, we are filled with confidence knowing they're not at their strongest right now. And going into this match, even though we're on a high, we have to settle down, we have to look at it, we have to be subjective about it and go, this is what we need to do to win. This is how you beat NIP, let's do it. We can't just keep the momentum we just had and take it into a game versus a different opponent. I'm happy to play NIP. I thought that we got screwed in the shuffle in the sense that Titan were probably a harder team than, say, eBattle, you know? Even though they showed a good performance for CLG, but I thought Titan, okay, we have to play Titan, that's kind of sucks. But then to get NIP out of the teams who are left to get through to qualify, I'm happy with that. If they're not performing at their best, that's great for us.
How would you rate the relationship between Titan and NIP? Like, if you would say Titan is the 11th, 12th strongest in the world, how would you rate NIP?
They're on the cusp still of the top 5. Like these are the events where they show up. This is where everything comes out for them. So, yeah, definitely still like 5, 6 in the world probably.
All right, man. Well, we want to also help you save your voice here. You do have another match to play, and we know how you go in those matches, so congratulations once again. But another match waiting for you against NIP as that decider match in Group G. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have that match to decide who takes one of the 2 spots left for the playoffs right after this.